Hi, this is Katie. In today's video, I'm gonna be talking more about day trips and kind of how to go on a little adventure if you don't have a lot of time, maybe you have a small budget. And then also I'm gonna touch briefly on the idea of planning and being spontaneous and stuff like that. And I'm also gonna be showing you a little bit of footage from a day trip that I just recently went on. This is the most confusing intro in the entire world, but please bear with me. But before we get started, I hope that you guys want to subscribe to my channel. You can just click that little red button and click the notification bell as well so you're notified of my videos. I generally post twice a week. And like this video, leave some comments about your favorite day trips. And yeah, let's just get right into the video. So as most of you guys know, I travel pretty full time. There are gonna be, months here and there where I'm kind of staying in the same spot, but I do live out of my car most of the time and I'm on the road going to tons of different cities and states and national parks and everything all the time. It's how I like to live my life, and so that's what I'm doing right now. And I know just from talking to a lot of you guys and reading your comments that a lot of you have maybe thought about doing something similar or have done it before. Maybe you spent a month on the road. Because essentially I'm on like a really long road trip. That's kind of how I see it. It's been a couple of years, but I know that a lot of you guys kind of wish that you could do that, but with your circumstances right now, it's better for you. It's more beneficial for you and your family for you to not be doing it. Whether it's that you love your job and so you're not just gonna take like 3 years off to go travel, whether it's that you have kids and you really want them to stay in the same school all 12 years, is something that is a higher priority than travel. You know what I mean? I understand that a lot of you guys have higher priorities than just living on the road, but you like the idea of it. You kind of like that sense of freedom, sense of adventure, sense of spontaneity. And I wanted to talk, I feel like I've never really discussed kind of, other options, which might be obvious to you, but I'm gonna talk about them anyway. So really one thing is day trips, and day trips are so easy because you don't have to even worry about sleeping. You don't really have to plan really anything if you don't want to. Like you could literally go spur of the moment. And they're pretty inexpensive, obviously depending on what you're doing. But so today is Tuesday morning. I know I'm posting this today. It's definitely not morning, it's 3 p.m. I'm gonna post this in a couple hours, but it's Tuesday. And on like Friday or so, I was just like, cause I'm in Nashville right now and I've been staying here for the past 3 weeks and I haven't like left. And again, if you guys know me, you know that that's like a long time for me to stay in one spot without even just going somewhere for a little while. And so on like Friday, I was like, I think I'm gonna go somewhere on Sunday. And so in my head, I was like, I'm gonna go to Knoxville. It's like 2.5, 3 hours away. So for me, that's a perfect like day trip size, go a few hours, kind of spend the day there and then drive back. Cause I'm staying at my friend's house. That's why I'm in a house right now. So I ended up going, and that's the footage that I'm gonna show you. So Sunday morning I left and I brought someone with me and we went to head to Knoxville. And the only like preparation really was that we kind of had an idea in mind. You don't even have to, you can literally just go. You can do it however feels the best for you, however makes you kind of the most excited is what I would say. I wouldn't say makes you the most comfortable. I would say makes you the most excited. And so we just had this idea in our head to go to Knoxville for the day. We did stop and get some snacks and we filled up with gas before we left Nashville. And I just had like chips and queso and a couple other bags of chips because I'm really into, like, I just love chips. And he got beef jerky. I would have gotten beef jerky too, but they didn't have the one that I like at like the gas station that we stopped at. What else did he get? Oh, he got a bag of Twix. Knowing that I couldn't eat any. But yes, we just got a few road trip snacks because we assumed or thought or said that we were gonna stop for like a late lunch when we got there. And honestly, for someone like me, that's kind of all the preparation it takes. He took his computer because he knew he might have to do a little bit of work. I took a book just in case he had to do some work and I would just sit next to him reading if we went to a coffee shop or something. And we just left. And we drove about an hour and we saw a sign for a state park. And I was like, hey, do you wanna like pull off? And he's like, yeah. And so we did, and we ended up stopping there for like a while. Like we ended up taking a bunch of pictures that hopefully some came out okay. I'm not the most photogenic person. But hopefully I'll be able to post 1 or 2 on Instagram. And we went on this little hike. We weren't even prepared. We were both wearing just like our regular shoes, but it wasn't like too much of a hike. It was more of a, just like a trail in the woods. So we were fine, but we ended up at like a beautiful waterfall. And we ended up actually not even going to Knoxville. Like we just kind of hung out at this park for a little while. And then we just kind of decided to come back to Nashville. And so that's kind of what I'm saying about how day trips are such an easy thing, especially if you're like single or you're just going with a couple of your friends. I know obviously it's different if you have a family. It's a little bit more to prepare and to plan, but still incredibly possible to just go on a little day trip and just kind of go and see. There's almost definitely something really, really cool within an hour or two of you that you've never seen before, whether it be a park or some kind of monument or even like a mall or something, you know, or a city even that you've never been to, or a small town that has really cool antiquing. Like if you have that desire in you to be on the road, but right now your priorities are making it so that that's not the best option for you and you are staying in one spot, it doesn't mean that you can't adventure. It doesn't mean that you can't be spontaneous and just kind of go and see what happens. And because like I said, kind of our idea was to head to Knoxville, but by the time we got to that park and we hung out there for a little while, we're like, let's just go back to Nashville. And that's what we did. And that's just kind of how it worked out for us. Like that's just what we wanted to do. And did we get dinner too? I can't remember actually. I feel like we may have gotten dinner too when we got back to Nashville. I can't remember. But like, I like being spontaneous in that way. For me, again, I know that it's different for other people, but I feel like even if it's not in your comfort zone, I still think that it might be cool to do once and see if it's something that excites you, because staying too much in your comfort zone, in my opinion, is not going to help you grow, learn, change. It's not going to help you kind of like be your best version of yourself. It's not going to help you experience things. You know what I mean? Obviously, you're gonna experience things if you stay in your comfort zone, but it's not gonna have you experience things that you wouldn't have, you know what I mean? And so even just something like this, really simple and crazy inexpensive. We didn't buy anything. We just ended up at a state park and then drove back, essentially is what happened. So we just spent money on gas and some food. And so there just definitely are ways that you can travel while still having your life that is your priority. And I just kind of feel like I've never really talked about this before. And then on top of that, the other thing that I really just wanted to stress is that I think that it is really cool. I'm not gonna say like necessary, but I think that it is really cool to, when you're doing something like that, to just kind of leave it open-ended, because you never know what you're gonna end up finding or what you're gonna end up seeing. If you have such a strict, rigid plan, you're not gonna be able to kind of see any other options. And so again, there's certain times where you really wanna stick to that plan, and that's totally fine. But if you kind of just are in that, like if you're in that mood to explore, if you're in that mood to adventure, if you're in that mood to be spontaneous, super planning it, just, I don't know, it might not allow you to see everything that you could have. And if we plan too much, like if we made reservations or something that like we couldn't cancel and we paid $100 or something ridiculous in Knoxville, then we wouldn't have been able to stop at that state park, even if we wanted to, you know what I mean? And so I think that it's just kind of cool to even embrace when plans change, because you never know. We end up seeing like a really pretty waterfall that we wouldn't have ever really seen otherwise, because it's just a random state park in the middle of Tennessee. And so anyway, yeah, I just think that it's so easy to go on day trips. If you want me to talk more about kind of even how to go on your first day trip if you've never done it, just because I've traveled so much and so has he, that doing something like this, like a little day trip, is just like basically something that we've done a million times, and so it's easy for us. But if you guys are kind of even just planning your first day trip or your first week trip, your first road trip that's going to be 3 months, and if you want more kind of like starter points, then let me know and I can even make kind of more step-by-step videos. This is just more of like an idea of just kind of like, if you want to travel and you don't have the time, meaning your time is being spent by other priorities, I feel like you will probably have time for a little day trip, even if it's just 5 hours that you leave, go somewhere an hour away, spend a few hours, come home. And again, you don't really have to spend a lot of money depending on what you're doing, and it's not a lot of time, and it's usually not a lot of planning. And so again, if you do want a little bit more step-by-step, or really how to prepare mentally, or even any extra things to have in the car or anything like that, let me know in the comments, and I can absolutely make this into more of like a series about how to start on a road trip or how to start doing day trips in your car. But anyway, without further ado, let me show you the little bit of footage that I have. It's gonna be a few minutes of like us hiking and stuff like that. Yeah, and then I'll come back and close out the video.
I'm relying on your love, and can you let me some, so that if I'm left with nothing at the bottom, you can be the one to come and help me up. You're the one I got responding to the calling. When my heart is heavy, you are sure you to hold tight. Hard to belly all the good in the cold times. So keep me warm before the freeze of the night grows. Body heat to more degrees if we like close. I know you know I got needs and you solve them. Through it all you'll be there pulling for me, yeah. And when I'm caught up all deep in my problems, you of all people care someone I need. If I'm running thin on my luck and falling so behind, I will need your love. So I'm holding on to you, to you, to you. So I'm holding on to you, to you, to you. So I'm holding on to you, to you, to you. So I'm holding on to you, to you, to you.
So that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed it. And again, if you have any questions specifically about kind of like starting on a road trip or planning a day trip, let me know in the comments, because I can absolutely give more tips and kind of more like step-by-step advice or things that I've done in the past that you might also enjoy or might also work for you. And yeah, that's gonna be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you, Jesus loves you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.